Oh, hey, didn't notice that camera sitting there. What am I doing here? Well, I'm just reminiscing about the cards that annoy me the most in Commander. Maybe I should make a list video about them. That should help me get over them, right? I hope. Let's do it anyways.
Kicking off our list, let's get our honorable mention out of the way now, and that's acknowledging the sad existence of Cyclonic Rift. I'll reserve most of what I have to say about this card, as I'd rather discuss it in another video. However, I can't make a list like this and not have that card mentioned somewhere. So in short, ban the Rift. Alright, so first up on the list we have Time Warp and its 2,000 different variations. Now, I could realistically put at least 20 different blue cards on this list, and well, most of you watching would probably be okay with that. But for the sake of my sanity and brevity in general, let's just focus on one card in specific, that being Time Warp style effects. There's at least a dozen different variations of this same effect of taking extra turns, that even though you can have the capability of playing all these cards, you just really shouldn't, no matter how much money you've spent on all of these cards. Speaking of money, time is money. Speaking of time, Time Warp effects waste everybody else's time, especially if you don't plan on winning within at least having 2 turns available to you. Now, I know it's a bit risky to say that out loud, but people need to hear it, because some players either don't take their opponents seriously enough to respect their hours in the day, or simply are sadistic. There is no in between for extra turn abusers. I've had enough bad experiences with opponents who will take 2 to 3 turns just to gain a massive board advantage to know better than to entertain them by not conceding at that point. Not that I hold anything against them personally, no. It's just that I'd rather end things quickly so that another game can get started even faster. If you're gonna go that far to play with yourself, just have the decency to end the game, please.
Since I've run out of time to talk about this card, let's go ahead and fetch the next topic of discussion.
Next up on our rant of wasting time are fetch lands. All 10 of these cards at this point have given me post-traumatic stress disorder. They're like getting flashbanged in Call of Duty. You can't do anything but to just let it happen, and in some cases are forced to use them yourself. Now, most players tend to fetch and pass the turn while they shuffle. But, like with constant tutoring, I don't want to have to worry about you missing out on what's happening in the game because you are shuffling your deck for the 6th time within the past 20 minutes. There's nothing wrong with having perfect mana, but let's be reasonable. Do you really need off-colored fetch lands just for the sake of optimum deck building? Do you really expect to submit this deck to Wizards in order to become the world's first professional EDH player? Get real and touch some grass. Go frolic in a real windswept heath and find God, because you really need to readjust as to what's acceptable.
Honestly, I can't believe those cards landed so low on this list. Anyways, let's go ahead and scramble it up for our next topic of discussion.
As far as Chaos cards are concerned, I only tolerate them in one specific instance. And that's because there's a friend of mine who plays a squee deck that's just entirely Chaos Tribal. It's cute and fun for what it is, but the deck exposed me to this degeneracy of red cards that essentially shift every card on the board in all sorts of opposite directions. Without a doubt, the biggest, most annoying of them all is Scrambleverse. I do like the name, and the art always manages to get my attention, but the effect makes me feel like I'm going catatonic. As I sit there in my stupor, I come to realize that I should have also just conceded at this point, but I'm too polite to not allow my opponent to do that one really cool thing that they wanted to do. The largest issue that I take umbrage with cards similar to Scrambleverse is that, honestly, I actually like these types of effects. I not so secretly enjoy having games flipped on its head, and like most drug highs, subsequent games just don't nearly hit as good as the first time. If Scrambleverse is akin to that first inebriated experience, then the following game feels like a hangover. To be honest, I appreciate the lack of autonomy that Chaos cards provide, as I kind of resent some players who take this format way too seriously, and cards such as Scrambleverse keep those types of players in check. It's on the top of this list because it reminds me of my childlike wonder that I've managed to lose in my cynical adulthood.
And with that, my list is concluded, which begs the question, what do you find to be the most annoying cards in Commander? And speaking of annoying, you should check out this video here of the most insane blue commanders in Magic the Gathering. Go on. I'll wait. right there. It's right there. Do it. Do it now.